All right, thank you to the Board of Education members and district leadership for allowing me the time to speak about Simon Kenton High School today and for all the support we receive over the years. This is my 5th time doing this, going from doing this online for a part of it, and now that we all get to be together, and it's great that we're able to do that. We do have a lot to celebrate, but we also have some areas to target for improvement this year. I will share that as of this morning, I had 1,901 students enrolled. That makes us one of the top 15 largest high schools in the state. That doesn't mean I have 1,901 students in my building because of the opportunities that are offered to our students in this district. So as the high school, and I'm sure these guys will also hit on this, but we have so many opportunities for our kids in the district, and I'm so happy about that. I myself have 250 students who attend Ignite. I've got 19 students who go to Scott full-time for JROTC. I've got 5 students who go to Dixie as part of our newcomer program or some other special programs. And I've got 80 students who go to NKU full-time as part of our Young Scholars Academy. Thanks for your support with all of those programs that we have. Aside from that, I've got students at Gateway, NKU, or Ensweiler Institute as part of their programs available to high school students, and we have over 100 students who are involved with our School to Work program, getting valuable workplace experience as part of their transition readiness and just their high school curriculum. Big piece, obviously, we've analyzed our test scores from the spring, and our results are not where we'd like them to be. Our math and reading scores were very close to what they were the previous year for the percentage of students who are proficient and distinguished, but we did not see the growth in those areas that we were really trying to get. Our science, social studies, and writing scores did decrease compared to the previous year, and our ACT scores for our juniors decreased slightly. It did have some great areas for celebration, though. Compared to 2023, we reduced the percentage of students who are novice in math by 21%. So we were going from 56 to 35%, and that's very highly rated in the state as far as the percent novice in there. We're continuing to try to reduce those kids as well. Our graduation rate increased. It was already over 96, and now we're at 98.4%. And again, I have to give a shout out to my entire staff, but we have our RBTL team, our SEB team that are constantly working with kids to make sure that they are claimed, and we have a plan for every single one of them. So everyone involved with them has a big part of that. We did increase the percentage of students who are transition ready by the CBAS model to 94.9, and the students who are listed as transition ready by the state criteria increased, and we rose that indicator score over 2 points. Why that's important to me is those kids are then prepared to go on, and when they leave our halls and go across our stage, they are then transition ready. So that's important to me. Our ACT scores did dip a little bit, but in comparison to state data, we're still in a good position. We were in the top 40% of high schools for reading ACT, like average score, and percentage of student at benchmark in reading. We're in the top 30% of high schools for English ACT average score, average math ACT score, and average science ACT score. And we're in the top 25% in the state of all high schools in the percentage of students meeting benchmark on the ACT in English and math. That's important because those kids can go and enroll in a college class and not have to take a remedial class. They're ready to go and start with their school right away when they go. As mentioned, we were not classified as TSI. We did have an extremely large class of juniors go through for our students with disabilities that are current seniors. They performed well enough to be out of the TSI category. That took a lot of work from my entire team, all my teachers, special ed, regular ed, all along the way. We're going to continue to maintain that. None of the assessment data we received was a shock to our system. Because of our CBAS model, we've been constantly analyzing data throughout last school year. We used it to make plans for improvement before we ever received our KSA results. And that data all went into development of our school action plan, and I'm going to share some of the notable areas we have here as a school. Some of these will be very familiar now after 15 people. First, lesson plan internalization. We've provided multiple training on this process, a way to make lesson planning more intentional towards the cycle of quality instruction, making academic vocabulary an important part of lesson planning, and focused on student mastery of standards. Intentional focus is meant to have students consistently engaged with rigorous instruction that is targeted towards mastery of standards. And this flows very well with our whole district balanced assessment system, which several people have mentioned. But that starts with frequent day-to-day, minute-to-minute assessment for mastery within each classroom. That flows into our formative, combative assessment within each one of our teacher groups, which leads to district common assessments, and that guides students towards success on summative assessments such as the ACT, KSA, and AP tests. Second, instructional leadership teams. Different people have used PLCs. We use ILTs typically in the high school because we have smaller groups of teachers there. But we've instituted common planning for each core subject area, paired with an administrator and their special ed teacher if they have a collaborator. These groups meet weekly during their planning period to develop plans, analyze data from common assessments, and discuss strategies for improvement with a specific focus on students with disabilities as well. Our focus for improvement this year, and we've seen a lot of growth, is for each group to have a system for data analysis for their in-house common formative assessment. And based on their work, we're revamping some curriculum with standards review to better serve our students. PPR feedback, I'll share the areas we have really, in addition to what we've always done, looking at the use of high-quality instructional resources. For high school, we are using StudySync for English, ELA, and Desmos through Algebra 1. Feedback on co-teaching models for students with disabilities, and comparing classroom observations with that lesson planning that was previously mentioned. MTSS and transition readiness remains an important part. We've got a robust system for transition readiness, which includes adult advocates, administrators, counselors, and other intervention providers. We examine the health of our interventions on a regularly scheduled basis, make adjustments in real time to address areas of need, and on a monthly basis, my team reconciles data to ensure that students are either transition ready or their intervention to become transition ready as one way to name and claim students. Additionally, we regularly run reports and follow up with all students to make sure that they are on track for graduation from freshman year on and receiving interventions if they're not. And we follow up with every student who has withdrawn from school to make sure that they have enrolled in another school so that they are not falling through the cracks. We don't want to lose any of them. Fifth, administrative roles. My school is larger than 64 school districts in the state, so it's kind of essential that it's managed in a way that helps keep our large school having a family atmosphere. We've revamped the roles of our administrative and counseling staff to more effectively serve our students and families. We have weekly meetings to address all social emotional behavior needs and monthly data reviews where the administrative team shares data from the areas they supervise with the entire team. And sixth, our SEB program, we have implemented the CORE project along with some in-person training to make that more effective this year, and it's working on it. Kind of in conclusion here, I'm extremely proud that Simon Kenton and Kenton County School District provides so many opportunities for students. I am not just the principal at Simon Kenton, but I'm also a parent of 3 Kenton County School District students, 2 at SK and 1 at Twin Awful. My older 2 are both part of the YSA program, had great experience so far in that program. But my neighbors' kids have been part of all of our other programs such as Ignite, JROTC, Gateway, and the other programs that our district has made important to them and given each kid a different path that they can take. That can't be said for every district in this state, obviously. And while we have so many of those kids in those programs, we have so many more kids that go through our traditional high school program and are set up for success at college or the workforce. I love about our school is there's so many opportunities again. I'm extremely proud of my school and my students. I love that my students have opportunities. I love that independents in Southern Kenton County look at Simon Kenton as a place they can call home and they feel a connection to that place. And I acknowledge that we have some work to do on test scores, but I believe I have the staff, the students, the processes, and the support to do that. And I appreciate the history of Simon Kenton, and I believe that our best days are still ahead. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I want to echo everybody's thanks to the board and the central office staff. Honestly, I can't tell you what it's like in other school districts because I was just thinking I've never actually been a part of another school district in any way, shape, or form. I enrolled in Beech Grove in kindergarten in 1985, and I've never worked anywhere else. So you guys are the standard for which I know, and it's been great, and I appreciate it, and thank you. And like Craig said, our kids have unbelievable opportunities. And that doesn't happen with a strong board and a strong central office. So thank you for that. This has been a big year for Dixie Heights. Last year we were at a point, I sat here in front of you, we were labeled a low performing school, we were orange. And as a guy that Dixie Heights is home to me, that hurt. That stung. It hurt my staff. It hurt my community. But I'm proud to say we showed tremendous growth over the last year. We went from up 21 points, so we went from orange to green, making us a high-performing school, and we were 1 point away from being a blue school. So we were super excited about that. And I am so proud of my staff and students. We had a choice. We could make excuses. We could be honest with ourselves. And do what we needed to do, and there was no question that the staff and students wanted to make a difference and make an impact and make a change that's going to last. Now, with that, my staff, myself, my students, we are not naive. We understand that in this business, the data is new every year. Nobody's going to care about last year's data next year. So we have to continue. So now is not a time for us to rest. Now is a time for us to double down on those things that we know work, double down on those systems, double down on those structures and those things we've put in place that we know are effective, and to continue to move forward. And it is not lost on me that we have not yet had a blue high school here. That's something we're very, very aware of at Dixie Heights High School and fully intend. I guess we better hurry since they're going to change the accountability system. So it looks like we got a year to do it, but that's where our goal is. We're not resting on anything. Diving into some of the specifics, one of the areas that really hurt us was reading and math the previous year. Last year, our math, the percentage of proficient and distinguished increased 10%, and our reading increased 16%, and both of those, the overall indicator was blue. Our math teachers specifically took things personal. We've looked at schedules, we've looked at aligning classes, vertical alignment schedules. We looked at under every possible rock to come up with solutions to get that. In our English classes, we worked very hard of getting away from the traditional novel models where we just sit there and read a novel, getting to more informational text, things that were more practical to the students in their lives. And we saw great growth with both of those. In the science, social studies, and writing category, science from a KSA standpoint, there's not much I can say. From the state level, the science high school test is a mess and has been suppressed to get in there. But what I can speak of my science is that's not the only data point we look at. We have formative assessments, we have common ILT formative assessments, common district assessments. So we know the state of our science department, and we know there's areas for growth there. We also know we've got some things we're doing well. And we've been able to identify that we need to realign our entire science department. We're missing standards from the way our classes are aligned and our maps. So we've identified the work we need to improve in that area. Social studies is one of the few core areas that we had that did decrease last year. Again, we are looking at the alignment. I know that I have good teachers in that subject matter. I know that they're utilizing data to improve instruction, but there's things in our setup that are barriers. So we're looking at all of the alignment from freshmen to junior classes to make sure that we're hitting the standards in a way that prepares all students. Now, writing was a big focus for us. My English department took great pain in our writing scores, and I'm proud to say that our writing grew 28%. Went up, we showed unbelievable growth, and it became a building-wide initiative. We had English teachers meeting with other content areas. We had English teachers meeting with social studies teachers so they could turn maybe a multiple choice assignment into a writing assignment. We had our English teachers basically tutoring and teaching our social studies how to utilize the writing rubrics because not everybody's a writing instructor. So we had to spread that across, and we saw great gains with that, and we're really excited to continue that model moving forward. Our next steps for our core content, like I said, we're going to double down. Dixie aspires to be a nationally recognized model PLC school. We want to be recognized for the work that our ILTs do. So we're double down. We've placed intentional focus on the complete operations of our ILTs, from their assessment calendars to their data analysis, lesson planning. We want high quality instruction in every single classroom, regardless of who your teacher is. If you walk into one of our English 1 classrooms, we want you to get the same level of education, no matter what teacher. It shouldn't be a lottery. Your education shouldn't be dependent on what teacher you got assigned to. So we're working really hard to make sure all of our ILTs are calibrated and providing that high quality instruction. We've brought in what we call our ILT playbooks. Teachers, administration, we're building these playbooks that every ILT will operate off of to make sure that we have that cohesion throughout our building, from grading policies to reassessment policies. We want the standard to be high and consistent throughout the building. Our achievement gap, you've heard from everybody, the district doesn't have any TSI schools, so Dixie does not have any TSI schools. We are happy with that, especially because we do have a growing EL population and a growing special ed population, and we're very, very proud of the work that goes into those students and those subgroups. However, the gap is still there and the gap still exists. And we're going to continue to address that through our lesson planning. And it's hard. It's hard. And sometimes it's easier just to lower the standard to meet the kids. And we know the data's clear. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. While it's harder, we have to raise those kids through accommodations to meet the standard. We can't lower the standard for them. We're doing them a disservice if we do. Our EL learner progress, our population is growing fast, but we did show 76% growth, and that population is moving, and we're working very, very hard to get those kids on the transition readiness track, to get those kids involved in programs to help them reach that goal. Our quality of school climate, our student survey, and we're at a high school. Students naturally are at odds with adults, yet 96% believe there's at least one adult that cares about them, 94% agree adults work hard to make them safe, and 92% agree adults respect their differences. So we work hard on that. Our transition readiness, which I think ties directly into relationships, transition readiness and graduation rate. We're up 9 points from the KDE transition readiness to 87%. Our CBAS with the Kenton County School District is at 96%. Our goal was 100%, so we're still not there, but we're moving in the right direction. And like I said, our district has so many opportunities for students. Our big job is to make sure that our families and students know about those opportunities and know how to take advantage of them, that communication piece. So we're really diving into that. And then our graduation rate, our true graduation rate was 99.7%. That's the top 5% in the state. When you add in the change indicator, our rate was 100. So with the indicator score, we were #1 in the state of Kentucky to do that. So we're really happy about that. From a true rate, there was only one high school in Northern Kentucky out of the 19 that beat us. Bellevue was 100%. They were like 23 of 23 students graduated. Much smaller school. So we're 100% is great for them, but we're competing with the smaller schools with a much larger class to get there. Overall points of pride, I saw my red flag, but I'm not going to skip over this point. I've been waiting for this. Our overall ranking, we were 3rd in the Northern Kentucky region, only behind Fort Thomas and Fort Mitchell. Were the only two that we were behind. In the state, we were 31st in the state out of 228 schools, put us in the top 15%. Our African American students in both reading and writing scored in the top 5%. Very proud of that. I've mentioned our graduation rate. Our quality of school climate and safety survey, we were 4th in the Northern Kentucky region, and we were top 15% in the state. I'm very, very proud of the culture that my teachers and students fought to create last year to make everybody feel valued and put an emphasis on Dixie Heights and putting us where we need to be. We still will work to improve. We're not, like I said, we're not resting on anything. We're striving to be the best. We're striving to be great. We're striving to be better than we were next year. We want to get better. So thank you for your time, and thank you for everything you do.
I have a different perspective than Roddy. I spent my entire school career in the Boone County School District, so don't hold that against me. I left this area for 18 years. I've lived in Eastern Kentucky. Last year, I moved back to the area. Found a home here at Scott. Can say that I am excited to be in the role that I'm in and proud to work with the staff and students that I work with. I have to start by saying thanks to you all. The last 10 years, I guess, there's been construction going on at Scott High School, and the facilities that we have now are state of the art. For sure the best in the district, sorry, and possibly one of the best in the state. We are constantly getting positive comments about how awesome our school is. Wicked awesome auditorium for school plays. If you got to come out and see Clue, we just had one. If you missed it, definitely catch the one that's coming in the spring. But awesome facilities there at Scott, which provides our students with the ability to be successful. Want to start with Scott was rated a green school. and for the second year in a row did come what is not a TSI school. So those are two huge shout outs for the staff and students at Scott. Student growth. So with the implementation of our HQIRs in math and reading, we have Desmos and StudySync. On the KSA and math, we went from 35% the year prior to 42%, and that is 7 points above the state average. In reading, we went from 41% to 51% scoring proficient distinguished, and that is 6 points above the state average. And definitely attribute that to the implementation of the HQIRs through learning walks and district walks. Like our teachers were implementing those HQIRs with fidelity, 100% fidelity. Examining developing the common informative assessment calendars and the common assessment calendars, examining that data in ILTs and PLCs. All of that can be attributed to that growth in reading and math. Now, those are significant growth areas, but we do know that are significant areas of achievement, but we know they are still growth areas, and we're not where we want to be, and we're headed in the right direction. Transition readiness, our post-secondary ready overall indicator score last year was 87.5%. To 2024 was 97.8%. So that was a huge growth area for us. We can contribute that or attribute that to our adult advocacy meetings that we're having with students, the name and claims, if there's attendance barriers, if there's some behavior interventions that need to be completed, our system and structures that are in place with MTSS, the MTSS tracking sheets, all of that with help from central office staff. It really is a foolproof system as long as we're implementing it with fidelity. Behavior data, this is a big one for us. Last year entering the building, not knowing exactly what I'm getting into as new to Kenton County and new to Scott. October of 2023, we had 380 behavior referrals submitted in Infinite Campus. So October was a very long month. October 2024, fast forward to this year, we had 97 behavior referrals implemented. Go into November, 339 behavior referrals processed in Infinite Campus last year in November. To this November, 88. And it could have gone up because that was when I left school. I don't know, hopefully none came in when I was gone. But 339 to 88 this year. Contributing factors to that increase, we realigned Scott's discipline matrix with the student code of conduct, consistency from the top down, from administrators down to the teachers. If the students realize we're going to be consistent in those discipline consequences, the discipline matrix, if we're going to be consistent, they see that, then they start being consistent, hold themselves accountable. We did implement a school-wide strike sheet that helped teachers with lower level classroom referrals, so there weren't as many referrals that might necessarily needed to come to us just yet, needed to be managed at the classroom level. So that strike sheet has helped with that. We're extremely excited about where we're headed with our behavior. And then, when people come in from outside the building, that's one of the things they point out on a regular basis is the atmosphere at Scott is completely different than what it was. And we're proud of that. That leads into one of our growth areas on the school, climate and safety. We had actually an increase in the percentage, and you don't want to see that increase, of students saying that bullying is not a problem at school. They disagreed with it, and so I'm interested to see, or excited to see, what this new data says now that we're seeing this decrease in the behavior events, what students' feelings are the next time we get to take that. Another area for growth, science, social studies, specifically on the KSA. We only had 2% of our students score proficient in science. We had 65% of our students score novice or apprentice in social studies. So the area of focus for us, being more intentional, we've started utilizing the internalization lesson plans, making it more intentional in what we're teaching. We know we've got to look at the master schedule to see how that's got to be with science teachers specifically. We're researching for HQIRs specifically for science, that those scores highlight the need to improve our Tier 1 instruction in those areas. But starting out with our common formative assessments, teachers analyzing those things within their ILTs, intentionally using that data to guide next steps to ensure students are mastering the standards. In closing, I again would like to thank the board and Dr. Webb, Ms. Smith, Ms. Harney for your continued support towards Scott and myself. You know, Ms. Smith can probably attest that I've been pretty needy here recently, trying to get caught up to speed, but it is very much appreciated, and I'm excited to see where Scott heads.